Hi, it's Catherine again, grandmother to the masses. Um, I have been on a budget my entire life. Now, I don't say this in a bad way. It's just what it is. Okay, so um, while never considering myself really poor, I did, I guess, as a child, was once or twice. But my parents did it in such a way that we were never, ever, nothing ever was a problem for us. But um, I am going to show you what comes out of budgeting and what you can do if you will quit whining, which is a big deal these days, and you will um, start thinking, how can I achieve what I want to achieve? Now, we recently painted this room a very bright, bright French Caribbean blue, okay? And it came from a company called Farrow and Ball. The color did, and I was able to find a Farrow and Ball in New Orleans, and it was wonderful. So this is the project. Let me move this around because y'all know I don't edit anything. Is the project that I want to show you today. I wanted a French look in here, but not a French fancy look, more of a French Creole kind of look, and I wanted to pay not a lot of money for it. So I looked and looked and looked, and the cheapest curtains I could find would have cost me about $600 for the, and these are just curtains. They weren't even drapes, they were just curtains. For the 6 windows that I have in here. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. So I did what most people do whenever they need to be inventive. And so I thought, well, I'll start looking around. And I did. So I'm going to turn you this way now. Because as my daughter tells me, you have to do things this way because it's going to be a longer video. So let me show you. I happened to find 2 bags of these kind of curtains at my granddaughter's yard sale, which I was participating in. And she was selling them, and they came from her dance teacher's studio. And I guess they got new curtains. But anyway, they were huge, and they were long, but like 90 inches long. And so, you know, I wanted not floor to ceiling, but I wanted nearly floor to ceiling. But I wanted, the fabric was good. I do believe that these are IKEA drapes, if I'm not mistaken. So I knew that they would stand up to whatever I might try to do this, you know. So anyway, so let's just talk about this for just a minute. And I'm going to show you something in my background. See that? That's called a mess. All right, a mess. This right here in the bottom is lace and bits of things that will become apparent in a minute. And this is an ironing board. And for those of you who only wear clothes from Shine, and you know you never ever iron anything because you can't possibly, it'll melt, shame on you. You should not be wearing those clothes. So and I'm a big opponent of fast fashion, a huge opponent of fast fashion. So I want for you to keep this in mind, that a thrift project is not a quick project all the time, and sometimes you have to live with it a little bit. And the person who has that much problem with it in my house is my husband, and I just ignore him while I'm doing these things. But the curtains themselves, because I do not have a sewing machine, and this is going to come into play here, I do not have a sewing machine, and I do not want a sewing machine. My eyes aren't really good enough to do that anymore. So what I did was I clipped off this top thing with these hideous curtain rings that would not have been good for my project. And I just clipped them off. I did put them in a bag, and I saved them, and what, I don't know, maybe something will happen. Who knows? You know, I got art teacher niece. You know, my sister was an art teacher, so I was able to download stuff onto her sometimes, but I cut this off. So that left me with a frayed edge. So for these curtains, I only really had to do the top. However, it did take me about 2 weeks to do the top. And what I did was there were a lot of curtains. So there are 12 panels in this room because I have 6 curtains. 6 windows rather. And so I had to sew on about this size again, rod pocket. And a rod pocket means that it's open like this and a rod goes through it, okay? And a rod goes through it. And it will become, let me move you again and show you the top of the curtains. I'm having to look at this. Is it working? Yes, there it is. That's the rod pocket. It has a tiny little ruffle on the top. I can't do it. Yeah, there it is. It has a tiny little ruffle on the top, and the rod goes through it. All right, rod pocket. So remember that. Remember that. And I did it by hand. And I did what was called a chain stitch because I wanted it to be strong enough. And in another video, maybe I'll show you how to do a chain stitch because you can find it online. It's not hard, okay? It's not hard at all. But, so anyway, that is where I got the curtains. The curtains. So let's just look for just a minute. So I found on Pinterest, and I couldn't figure out how to how to put the link to it in this thing. But if you will email me, and not email me or comment on the video, I will do my very best to show you where it was. So they made these beautiful, absolutely stunningly gorgeous curtains that were sort of, I don't want to say decayed, but frayed and looked like they had yellowed a little bit over time, but very, very French. What my version of French Creole is sort of a shabby, I guess technically it would be in American terms shabby chic. But you know, whenever you go to France, and I've been a couple of times, they will sit on furniture that has absolutely got nothing on it anymore, because once it was a tapestry. So it's an interesting, it's a pretty interesting concept. Not something I really necessarily wanted to do, but I did want these curtains to look like this. So what I've decided to do is, and I'll bring my camera back over a little bit, and here it is. Nope, that's me. So I found all these lace curtains at the bins, okay? And this is the pile of lace curtains right here. This is going to be a little constant companion for quite a little bit of time now. There they are. Until I get this stuff done. And you can see that there's a lot of different kinds of the lace curtains. And you know, just stuff like that. That's probably not a very good part of the video, sorry. Now, these curtains are mass produced. They're not antique anything, so I'm able to easily find them when I go to the bins, and I really like that a lot. But one of the things that when I'm doing this project, and now we're going to a different place, is this. On the edges of the curtains, this is called a button closure. And you can buy these on Amazon and just look up button closures, okay? And they're 30 yards on a spool. And I wasn't really sure because I'm not the best measurer in the world, but I'm probably going to need 3 spools. But I bought one just to see if this was really what I wanted to do. So with the button closure, I just kind of whip stitched it onto here. I did, please excuse me, I did glue some That way, it was extra. I mean, these aren't going into a museum, and God only knows what my kids will do with them when I'm dead. So, this is one of the fun things about this. Now, so I got these. Again, here it is right here, all right? And the whole thing looked like this, and then I rounded around to the bottom. And then I began to cut for this side of the curtains, I cut 20-inch strips of lace, and I placed them every fourth button, okay? Every fourth button. Now, button enclosure, every fourth loop. This little loop right here, every fourth loop. Now, why did I do it every fourth loop? Okay, this is why. Because I wanted to do 4 or 5 different varieties, and because this room is blue, I wanted to make sure that I got a very soft, shimmery blue sheer tulle, Tulle, and I added that in somewhere. So, please excuse me, allergies. We have, I've got a lot of work left to do in these curtains, and I do a lot of the work at like from 10 to 1 in the morning. That way there's nobody to bother me. Could I get up early in the morning? I sure could, but I don't. As a person who drove basically for the 8 years of her career, I had to get up very early in the morning, get on the road, because my little route that I went, I was a district manager for a very large liquor chain here in Texas. And for what I had to do was leave from my house and basically do a sort of coastal route, and ending up in damn near Matagorda from Beaumont, Texas. So it was a long time. So I had to get up early, and I had to be gone late, and I didn't get a lot of stuff done, because when you have money, you have no time, and when you have time, you have no money, which I guess I'm proving to you now. So back to the curtains. So I decided that I wanted for them to have like 5 or 6 different things, and I'll show you that. I don't know if I'm sitting on it right now. Right now there is an old sheet fringe that I got out of the bins. Wait, let's go lower. Right here, old sheet binge. There is a white curtain, lace curtain, which I showed you, which is one of the ones that's mass produced. It's probably mass produced right around maybe early 2000s. So there's tons of them around. And then there is, anytime I can find myself a slightly creamy color, an ecru tablecloth, or whatever, that, most of them are damaged whenever you get them at the bins, because they've just been treated very badly. And they didn't sell at the store, so that means, their next stop is a dump, and I hate that for them. So anyway, so I have, like I said, so I want a real sort of genteel ratty-tatty look. And so I cut them. I didn't worry whether or not they were too terribly straight. With these, I just ripped them, because you can see some of the fabric is still frayed like that, just a little bit. Now, this is definitely not something for you if you want everything to be perfect. Not gonna happen. But if you like crackly furniture, if you like things that look worn, it's a good look. But I wanted that blue tulle, which I have not found yet, which means there's waiting time. And the thing about a house is this: houses are decorated, but homes are created. And you can do this anywhere you are in an apartment. You can do it in a home. You can do it, well, heck, I've seen some people do it in some pretty nice little vans. So, where you live is important, and it's important to you, certainly not to anybody but you, and don't listen to anybody who tells you different. So you must, enjoy your weird and be your weird, and that's what I do every day on a daily basis. like I've said before, I live in an absolute alternate reality to everybody else, okay? I'm really working toward that little cottage in the woods where everybody thinks a witch lives, which is perfectly fine with me. So, and then I also wanted a white tool or a cream tool. Okay, so that means I'm going to probably have to look for a tremendous amount of stuff over the next probably 2 months, and I'm finding it, so it's great. It's great, and I've already got a fair amount right now, but it takes time, and you know there's a saying that's called necessity is the mother of inventions. Did I necessarily need these kind of curtains? Well, no, I didn't. But I'm 70 and I wanted them. And I knew that I just had to figure out how to put them together, which is exactly what I did. So I hear a lot of my kids need this, and my kids need this, and I need this, and you have to give me this. And well, no, that's really, really not true. If you're on the SNAP program in Texas, you can no longer buy a fancy little birthday cake for your child. So make your own damn birthday cake. That's my thought process. I think my kids always had homemade birthday cakes, a lot of which they helped me make. So, and they were very proud of their birthday cakes whenever we did them. So it was not that big of a deal. You can make cookies at home, you can make pudding at home, you can clean with vinegar, and baking soda. And so there's ways to save money. There's ways to be frugal. There's ways to make your curtains that you want without having to pay hundreds or into the thousands for a look that will just take you some time. All right? It'll just take you some time. That's all. It'll take you some time. The paint on the walls cost me about $120. And but it was great paint, and the color was to die for. So I coughed it up. Could I have painted with less expensive paint? Yeah, I could have, but I didn't want to. But I didn't want to pay $600 for curtains. Okay, so I figured out how can I do it. Now, the bag of curtains, there were two bags actually. They're two big duffel bags because, a dance studio has huge long windows, and this one was a particularly nice dance studio. And it had tons and tons and tons of those curtains in there. And so I bought the two bags from my granddaughter, and then it took me a bit to figure out, because sometimes it does take a bit of thinking. Sometimes it does. It does. Now, what do I have that is included in this project? Okay, so I had the curtains, and that was $20. The actual curtains was $20. This stuff is, I think, $1.89 a pound. In some of the places we get it $2.49 a pound. In Houston, where we go to the bins the most, but we also go to the bins in New Orleans. We go to the bins in Austin. We go to the bins in San Antonio, which, by the way, is not a very good bins, and they need to up their game. But we have, we go to a lot of places. If I can find this, and sometimes I do find these things in just stores, thrift stores, or wherever. I don't go to thrift stores as much as people probably think I do. I go more just to, I don't go to yard sales, and I don't go to estate sales. I go to the bins. Okay, that's it. So then the rest of the time I spend doing things like this, so that's kind of a fun thing for me. But I do want to address the shears for just a minute, though. So with the shears, I did the very same thing. Here's the shears. When I bought these shears, they're $4 a shear at Walmart. I hate to even think about what they are right now, but I just simply ran that button closure that I got from Amazon across the top of, this was where it folds over. This is where it folds over, across the top of this, and I put another bunch of our frayed lace here. And this I did every other button closure loop because I just didn't want to have to work that hard. But I did want it to reach all the way down to the floor. So I was, you see, like that. Yeah, that's what I should have done a while ago. All right. Now, the button closure, I'm going to address this one more time because I can't remember in this video if I showed it to you. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. See, and it comes, like I said, it comes in these really long things. I think I have enough here. I've done two sets of curtains so far, and with this, so I have a third set that I'm going to start. And let me tell you how I do the button closures on the curtains, okay? I got fabric glue, and I did a dot of the glue, and then just whip stitch it. But I do glue first, and once I do the dot of glue, I put a clothespin on it and go all the way around the curtain on the inside and the bottom. I don't do it on the outside. And I will, and then I will go back, like I said, and do the whip stitch. And then I will add, the stuff. So I guess the real point of this video is not for you to make lace curtains. It's for you to figure out what you want to do if you want something. And this is what, I'm sorry guys, okay, this is what your grandparents did. This is what your grandparents did. Somewhere along the line, we have lost this. Now, there's tons of people out there because they make videos just like this one, way better as a matter of fact. And they're doing the job. They're getting things done. They're creating farms. They're creating homes. Sometimes they're very far out as far as, who needs 100 pumpkins in front of their house at Thanksgiving? Certainly not me. That's a waste of money for me. And it would have been a waste of money for me when I was a young woman too. So it's not that I've grown older and wiser. It's just that it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm told that the days of influencers are over. I hope that's so true, because I think we have two whole generations of young people who think that they deserved everything perfect quickly. And that's just not real life. That's just not real life. Like I said, for someone who was responsible for 6 kids, 4 of which I birthed and 2 of which I did not. And but we were responsible for all of them. So there was no way that our house was always going to be perfect and on trend, which was a term we didn't even use back then. But it's a myth, and it is something that has been done that is very bad. It's very bad for all of you. And you need to just know that that's not the way life is. That's really not the way life is. And I wish I had better news for you, but I don't. I don't. It's just like this thing that's moving this way. Slowly, it seems like there. Now I'm straight again. Vacations to Disney cost a hell of a lot of money. Okay? Vacation to the pool, not so much. So you have to decide where you're at in this. I had a pretty high dollar career for quite a while, about 18 years, 20 years, and that was great. It got me to where I needed to be as far as being able to retire and do crazy videos like this. But it also stressed me out to the point that I would cry in my car on the way home. And it was difficult. So, but you can't have high dollar without high stress if you're working for somebody else. Maybe you can have high dollar if you're working for yourself, but still, you're not going to always have the ability to just stop when you want to stop or quit when you want to quit. or take a trip when you want to take a trip. It's not real life. And a lot of people have chosen smaller careers. They have chosen career paths that don't pay as much, but it gives them a quality of life that they want. Hooray for them. They've made wise decisions. But for those of you who want no job and you want your kid to have a $30 birthday cake, I just think that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on the end here, but I do want to just leave this with you that you have some decisions to make. But these curtains were my decision, and I've had great fun making them. I love them. I just love them. And they look amazingly like the curtains on Pinterest. And again, like I said, I will look and see if any of you want to email me, not email me, but if you want to get a comment down in the bottom and tell me, hey, can you send me that picture, or can you tell me where to find that picture? And I will do my very best to make sure that I can get it to you so that you can see. Pinterest is amazing. It's really amazing. I used to buy magazines, which I don't anymore. I just look at Pinterest. And a lot of people say, oh, their day is over, but I don't think so. I think it's kind of a fun social media platform. It's certainly much more fun than anything that shows me whiny people. So that's kind of my thing for the day. I want to send a love out to my grandchildren and their spouses, and tell them that I miss them every day, and just look forward to the next time that I get to see them. And we have 2 new great-grandchildren, and they're twin girls, and I can't hardly wait till I get to see them. They're a little bit, I don't think they were premature, but they had to stay in neonatal for just a bit. And so we're just all kind of waiting to see whenever Mom and Dad feel comfortable enough to let us have a visit with the girls. So have a good one. Make sure that you make wise choices. Make sure that you don't listen to the wrong people. Don't use drugs. And stop smoking on vapes, for God's sakes. Those things are dangerous. I love you all. And to all of you who don't have a grandmother who's crazy and weird like me, hi, I'm happy to be yours. Have a good one, guys. Bye.